Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm thrilled to have you all here today for what promises to be an incredibly insightful session on something many of you are constantly searching for: easy ways to earn money online in 2026. We've all been there, scrolling through countless videos, hearing tantalizing promises, and perhaps feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information and misinformation out there. You might even feel like there's an AI paywall hitting you, where the tools to pursue an idea are just too expensive to start, or you're stuck in analysis paralysis, unsure where to even begin with all the possibilities. Today, we're cutting through the noise. Forget the get rich quick scams and focus on real, actionable strategies that actually work in today's rapidly evolving online landscape. Many of you are wondering if you need prior experience to start, or if the market is already too saturated for newcomers. Others are asking about the best ways to learn the technical skills needed to launch a new venture, or how to actually find customers for your innovative AI services. We'll tackle these head on, giving you a clear roadmap to navigate these challenges. Over the next hour, we'll dive deep into concrete, proven methods. We'll explore exciting opportunities like AI voice agents and how they can revolutionize how businesses handle client interactions without needing to hire a full-time receptionist. We'll also cover the immense potential of AI lead generation, showing you how to become an invaluable asset to businesses desperate for qualified prospects. Beyond AI, we'll discuss the power of reselling physical products online, tapping into niche markets that remain incredibly lucrative. And for those of you looking to provide highly valuable services, we'll investigate the world of brand deal brokering, connecting influencers with major companies for significant commissions. Finally, we'll see how crafting compelling digital products and offering freelance services can provide a steady and scalable income, all while ensuring we address your biggest pains like market saturation, finding clients, and turning complex ideas into simple, executable steps. So, get ready to take notes, because by the end of this webinar, you'll have a much clearer path to earning money online in 2026. Let's dive into the topic of navigating the AI paywall. The audience sentiment is quite clear. Many of you have expressed frustration with the costs associated with accessing powerful AI tools. For instance, one user remarked, "I hit an AI paywall. Tascade is charging $72 for my idea, and that sounds too much." Another shared, "Every promising AI platform seems built to get you hooked on a free trial, but the features I need are locked behind plans that cost hundreds a month." This sentiment reflects a common feeling that starting a project often feels financially out of reach. In real life, we see this issue manifest in various ways. For example, an aspiring entrepreneur wants to create a service that generates high-quality marketing copy for a niche market, but discovers that the subscription for Jasper or Copy AI is beyond their budget. Another example is a developer who dreams of building a specialized AI chatbot for local businesses, but finds that platforms like Intercom have pricing geared towards large enterprises, making it impossible for startups to get a foot in the door. Even those experimenting with AI video generation tools often encounter per-minute rendering costs that quickly add up, making it challenging to create a prototype. Now, let's bust some myths surrounding this issue. One common misconception is that you need the most powerful, expensive AI tool to create a valuable service. The reality is that often the secret lies in creatively combining several less expensive tools to achieve your goals. Another myth is that startup discounts are only available to venture-backed companies. In fact, many SaaS companies are willing to provide access if you reach out and explain your situation as a solo founder. Lastly, there's a belief that free tools aren't powerful enough to build a business. In truth, mastering a free tool like ChatGPT can yield better results than a paid tool you don't fully understand. From my perspective, these high prices should be viewed not as barriers, but as filters that eliminate the majority of potential competitors. Your challenge is to be among the 10 who get creative. Instead of opting for complex platforms, focus on finding one core function you need and look for a cheaper, single-purpose API that can accomplish that. Chain it together with no-code tools like Zapier to create a solution that fits your needs without breaking the bank. My actionable advice is to shift your mindset from buying a solution to assembling a solution. Before committing to any subscription, validate your idea by finding one client willing to pay enough to cover the first few months of that tool's subscription. If you can do that, you have a business. If not, the tool wasn't the issue. Now that we've tackled the challenges of navigating AI paywalls, the immediate next question becomes how to actually structure your journey from an idea to a paying client. Let's explore that next. Let's move on to crafting your AI business roadmap. The audience sentiment is clear. Many of you have expressed a desire for clarity on how to turn ideas into actionable steps. One user shared, "You told us what can make us money, but can you tell us how to create a path to do them?" Another remarked, "I see all these AI opportunities, but it feels like there's a huge gap between knowing they exist and actually starting a business." What's step one? This highlights a common struggle of feeling overwhelmed by possibilities but unsure how to proceed. In real life, we see this issue manifest in various ways. An aspiring founder might watch a tutorial on building a custom GPT for businesses, but after the technical setup, they freeze. They have the tool, but they lack a clear plan for pricing, outreach, or client onboarding. Similarly, a freelance writer wanting to pivot to offering AI-powered content strategies may spend weeks researching tools but never launch because they can't figure out how to package their service. The lack of a clear service model becomes a total roadblock, leaving many talented individuals stuck at the starting line. Now, let's bust some myths surrounding this topic. One common misconception is that you need to build a perfect, fully automated AI product before you can make any money. The reality is that many successful AI service businesses start by delivering their services manually or semi-manually. This approach allows you to validate demand and refine your process based on real client feedback before investing heavily in technology. Another myth is that the roadmap to a 10,000-month business is a secret set of complex steps. In truth, it's simply about finding a painful problem and selling the solution, with AI being just the modern toolkit you use to address it. From my perspective, the path to success often begins with a conversation rather than a complex tool. My actionable advice is to identify a niche you understand, find one potential client, and offer to solve one of their problems for free or at a low price. Use existing software like Zapier or ChatGPT to deliver this service manually. This is your minimum viable offer, not a minimum viable product. By engaging with real clients, you'll gain invaluable insights into what the market truly needs, what they're willing to pay for, and the language they use to describe their pain points. Now that you have a clearer understanding of how to craft your AI business roadmap, let's move on to the next challenge many face: escaping the perfection trap. Let's explore the audience sentiment regarding escaping the perfection trap. Many of you have shared feelings of being stuck in a cycle of overthinking. One user expressed, "My problem is trapped in analysis paralysis," while another said, "Aiming so big, I don't even know where to start." This highlights a common struggle where the desire to achieve perfection can often lead to inaction. In real life, we see this manifest in various ways. For instance, a budding entrepreneur might spend weeks comparing different no-code platforms, reading every review and watching every tutorial for building an AI chatbot, but never actually building and launching a simple version for a single client. Another example is someone outlining a massive, complex AI-powered workflow for a marketing agency, automating everything from ad creation to reporting, but getting so bogged down in the sheer number of steps that they never even make the initial sales call to pitch a tiny piece of it. Additionally, a person wanting to create an AI service that analyzes customer feedback might try to design a universal system that can handle any data format and sentiment, getting stuck on the architecture before processing a single review. Now, let's bust some myths surrounding this issue. One common misconception is that you need to have the entire AI system perfectly built and automated before you can sell it. The reality is that you can use the Wizard of Oz technique, where you sell a sophisticated AI service and fulfill it manually behind the scenes. This allows you to validate demand and fund the development of the actual automation without needing upfront technical perfection. Another myth is that more research leads to a better decision. In a fast moving field like AI, excessive research can lead to outdated information. You only need enough information to take the next small reversible step. Lastly, there's a belief that you must start with a big, impressive idea. The truth is that the most successful AI services often begin by solving a tiny, nagging problem exceptionally well. From my perspective, this feeling of being frozen by endless possibilities is common, but the solution is counterintuitive. The secret isn't to think your way out of it, but to act your way out with a very specific, non-technical step. Forget building an AI. Your first goal is to validate a single assumption with zero code. Pick one service idea and identify the core result a client would pay for. Your mission for the next 3 days is not to build it, but to sell it, or even just get a verbal commitment to one person. Do the work of the AI manually. If you want to sell an AI that summarizes reports, manually summarize 3 reports and send them over. This approach delivers immediate market feedback and breaks the paralysis because you're no longer stuck in your own head. You're engaged in a real business interaction. Now that you've used this method to break the cycle of overthinking, the next logical hurdle is often internal. A new kind of fog can roll in, making you overthink every detail and halting your progress before you even take the second step. Let's explore how to navigate that internal state of analysis paralysis. Let's dive into the topic of finding your first AI clients. The audience sentiment is quite clear. Many of you are asking the same questions, such as, where do I find customers? And how do I connect with businesses that need my services? This highlights a major hurdle for many aspiring entrepreneurs. The path to a paying customer feels completely hidden. In real life, this issue often plays out in frustrating ways. For example, a talented developer creates a fantastic AI tool for generating social media content, but sends hundreds of generic cold DMs to businesses on Instagram, receiving no replies. Alternatively, someone develops a brilliant AI chatbot for real estate, but only pitches it to large national firms that already have enterprise solutions, leaving them feeling ignored. The most common mistake is perfecting an AI-driven market analysis tool for weeks, only to realize they have no idea which specific industry or role would pay for it, leading to random outreach with no context. Now, let's bust some myths surrounding this issue. One common misconception is that you need a big marketing budget to find clients. The truth is, your first few clients will come from targeted, high-touch outreach, not from a Facebook ad campaign. Another myth is that you find clients through cold outreach. Instead, think about making yourself discoverable in environments where potential clients are already looking for solutions. Lastly, many believe they are selling AI. In reality, businesses don't buy AI. They buy outcomes, time savings, cost reductions, or increased revenue. The AI is merely the tool to achieve that. From my perspective, here's an effective strategy that isn't obvious but works incredibly well: the Trojan horse method. Don't lead with your complex AI solution. It can be intimidating. Instead, find a small, annoying problem you can solve for a potential client for a low fixed fee or even for free to build trust. For example, instead of pitching an AI-powered churn prediction model to a SaaS company, offer to manually clean up and categorize their messy customer support tickets for a small fee. Once you and have proven your value, you can then show them how your AI model can analyze those clean tickets to predict churn automatically. Your actionable next step is this: go into one niche forum or Facebook group for your target industry. Just listen for 2 weeks. Find one person with a small, urgent problem and offer to solve it. That is your way in. Now that you have a clearer understanding of how to find your first AI clients, let's move on to the next challenge many face: the experience myth and the feeling of being unqualified to enter the AI space. Question from SmartBlog AI. Hello, how are you? Hello, I'm here and ready to dive into the latest trends in tech and digital culture. What's on your mind? Question from Adrian Thomas, S5ZL. AI is trash. NGL, disgusting excuse for art and entertainment. It sounds like you have strong feelings about AI and its role in art and entertainment. Many people share concerns about the authenticity and creativity of AI generated content. This debate often revolves around questions of originality, emotional depth, and the value of human creativity versus machine generated work. While some see AI as a tool that can enhance creativity, others worry it might dilute artistic expression. It's essential to consider both sides of the argument. For instance, AI can assist artists in generating ideas or automating tedious tasks, but it may also lead to a homogenization of creative outputs. What specific aspects of AI in art and entertainment do you find most troubling? Let's explore that further. Let's move on to the experience myth, which is a concern many of you have expressed. Comments like, do I need experience to jump on board with Martell Ventures? And I feel like everyone else has a computer science degree or a portfolio of successful projects, and I'm starting with nothing. Highlight a common feeling of inadequacy. Another user noted, I don't have a business background, so who would trust me to build a solution for them? This sentiment reveals a significant barrier that many aspiring entrepreneurs face. In real life, we see this feeling manifest in various ways. For instance, an aspiring founder might have 3 solid ideas for AI-powered services, but gets completely bogged down trying to learn Python, PyTorch, and cloud deployment all at once. They end up abandoning all 3 ideas before a single line of code is written. Another example is a business-savvy individual who outsources their first AI product to a freelancer. However, due to their lack of technical knowledge, they struggle to properly vet the tech stack, leading to cost overruns and a product built on a non-scalable platform. Lastly, a non-technical founder might try to build a portfolio of AI tools, but focuses on the wrong things, like learning complex coding languages instead of mastering high-level system design and prompt engineering. Now, let's bust some myths surrounding this issue. One common misconception is that you must be a master coder or AI scientist to launch a venture studio. The reality is that your role as the studio head is to be the architect and translator, not the primary coder. You need to understand the capabilities of technologies to direct specialists, not to write the code yourself. Another myth is that starting a venture studio means you need to build complex proprietary technology from day one. In fact, successful studios focus on speed and validation, assembling existing APIs and no-code platforms to test ideas in the market quickly. From my perspective, the question of how to acquire the right technical knowledge is crucial. It's not about learning everything that's a trap. For a venture studio model, your goal is to develop what I call technical taste and strategic oversight. Instead of spending a year becoming a mediocre Python coder, spend a month mastering tools like OpenAI's API and automation platforms like Zapier or Make. True leverage comes from knowing when to use a fine-tuned model versus a cheaper, faster, open-source one for specific business tasks. Here's your actionable advice. Forget traditional coding courses for now. Your curriculum should focus on building 3 small, tangible AI tools this month using no-code platforms and existing APIs. The learning isn't in the final product, it's in the process. Hitting API limits, understanding pricing trade-offs, and seeing what breaks. This experience is far more valuable for a studio founder than any computer science lecture. Now that you have a clearer understanding of the experience myth and how to approach it, let's transition to the next challenge, the dilemma of whether to learn to code or master AI tools. As we look toward 2026, question from Adrian Thomas, S5Z. Face red, droopy eyes. 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 It seems like you're feeling frustrated or overwhelmed. Many people experience similar emotions when navigating the complexities of AI and technology. Whether it's the challenges of learning new skills, finding clients, or understanding the market, it can be a lot to handle. If there's a specific aspect that's bothering you or a question you have, feel free to share. Let's tackle it together and find a way to move forward. Viewer comments, Weird 6767. This is Poo Poo. Lily Batty Official 1. Polar Bear. It looks like some viewers are expressing their dissatisfaction with the content or the discussion. Comments like these can reflect a range of feelings, from disappointment to frustration with the current state of AI or technology discussions. Engaging with critical feedback is important. It can help refine the conversation and address the concerns that viewers have. If there are specific points or topics that people feel strongly about, it might be worth exploring those further. For instance, do they have suggestions for improvement, or are there specific aspects of AI they find particularly frustrating or unappealing? Let's dig into those sentiments and see how we can make the discussion more relevant and engaging for everyone. What do you think? Let's dive into the topic of the Venture Studio Tech Blueprint. The audience sentiment is quite revealing. Many of you have expressed concerns about how to acquire the technical knowledge needed to start a venture studio. Comments like, what would you say is the best way to learn the technical knowledge to start a venture studio? And I feel like I need to become a CTO overnight just to get started. How can a non-technical person lead a tech-heavy business like an AI studio? Highlight the anxiety surrounding this issue. In real life, we see this dilemma manifest in various ways. An aspiring founder may have several solid ideas for AI-powered services, but feels completely overwhelmed trying to learn multiple programming languages and technologies all at once. They might end up abandoning their ideas before even getting started. Another scenario involves a business-savvy person who outsources their first AI product to a freelancer but lacks the technical knowledge to properly vet the tech stack, leading to cost overruns and a product built on an unsustainable platform. Lastly, a non-technical founder may focus on learning complex coding languages instead of mastering high-level system design and prompt engineering, which are more relevant for a venture studio model. Now, let's bust some myths surrounding this issue. One common misconception is that you must be the master coder or AI scientist to launch a venture studio. The reality is that your role as the studio head is to be the architect and translator, not the primary coder. You need to understand the capabilities of technologies to direct specialists effectively. Another myth is that starting a venture studio means you need to build complex, proprietary technology from day one. Successful studios focus on speed and validation, assembling existing APIs and no-code platforms to test ideas quickly in the market. From my perspective, the question of how to acquire the right technical knowledge is crucial. It's not about learning everything that's a trap. For a venture studio model, your goal is to develop what I call technical taste and strategic oversight. Instead of spending a year becoming a mediocre Python coder, spend a month mastering tools like OpenAI's API and automation platforms like Zapier or Make. True leverage comes from knowing when to use a fine-tuned model versus a cheaper, faster, open-source one for specific business tasks. Here's your actionable advice. Forget traditional coding courses for now. Your curriculum should focus on building 3 small, tangible AI tools this month using no-code platforms and existing APIs. The learning isn't in the final product, it's in the process. Hitting API limits, understanding pricing trade-offs, and seeing what breaks. This experience is far more valuable for a studio founder than any computer science lecture. Now that you have a clearer understanding of the Venture Studio Tech Blueprint, let's transition to the next topic, the dilemma of whether to learn to code or master AI tools, as we look toward 2026. Let's move on to the dilemma of whether to learn to code or master AI tools, as we look toward 2026. The audience sentiment is quite revealing. Many of you are asking questions like, in 2026, should we learn to code or rather master AI tools? If so, how? Another user shared, I feel like if I don't learn Python right now, I'm going to be left behind forever. Additionally, someone expressed uncertainty, saying, I see all these AI tools and I just don't know which one is actually worth mastering. Am I better off just knowing a little about all of them? This highlights a common anxiety around the rapidly evolving tech landscape. In real life, we see this dilemma manifest in various ways. For example, an entrepreneur might spend 6 months learning Python to build a custom AI chatbot for real estate agents, only to discover a no-code platform later that could have built 80 of the functionality in a single week. Another case involves a freelance marketer who becomes a deep expert in a specific AI video generation tool, only to find that a newer, more powerful tool released by a competitor makes their niche expertise less valuable. Lastly, a consultant might decide against a full coding bootcamp and instead learn just enough to write simple scripts that connect different AI APIs, automating a unique data analysis task for a small group of businesses. Now, let's bust some myths surrounding this topic. One common misconception is that you must learn to code to build a legitimate high-income AI business. The reality is that the money is in solving business problems, not in the elegance of your code. Many six-figure services are built by creatively combining and mastering existing AI tools. The tool is simply the means to an end, and clients pay for the end result. Another myth is that mastering one specific AI tool is a safe career bet. The AI landscape is changing too quickly for that. The real, defensible skill is mastering the process of identifying, learning, and adapting to new tools as they emerge. From my perspective, this isn't a straightforward either-or question. The debate of learning to code versus mastering AI tools is framed incorrectly. The strategic way to think about this is depth versus breadth. My strong recommendation is to start with breadth to find a real paying problem, and only then go for depth if you absolutely have to. Your first $10,000 a month will almost certainly come from applying existing tools, not from building your own. Here's the secret few are talking about. Don't just learn a tool, learn a stack. The real magic, the defensible business, is in chaining 2 or 3 AI services together to create a unique workflow that solves a complex business problem. As we consider the implications of this dilemma, it naturally leads us to think about the platforms that underpin this entire ecosystem. Let's explore that next. Let's dive into the topic of riding the wave, what OpenAI's latest updates mean for your business. The audience sentiment is palpable, with many of you expressing a mix of excitement and anxiety. Comments like, "What's your opinion on the new updates released by OpenAI?" and "I'm worried I might be missing key takeaways that could unlock my next move," reflect a desire to keep up with rapid changes in the AI landscape. In real life, we see this excitement manifest in various ways. Users are noticing how the once familiar ChatGPT interface has evolved, making it more user-friendly. Many are thrilled about new features, such as the AI's ability to engage in fluid, human-like conversations. Additionally, the introduction of multimodal capabilities, where the AI can analyze images and provide context, has opened up new avenues for businesses to explore, such as creating interactive customer support experiences or enhancing content marketing strategies. Now, let's bust some myths surrounding these updates. One common misconception is that you have to build your business around the flashy new features. The reality is that the new, sexy features are often distractions. The real money is made by applying these powerful tools to solve old, boring, and expensive business problems. Another myth is that big updates from giants like OpenAI make it harder for small entrepreneurs to compete. In fact, these updates are a gift. They are commoditizing incredibly powerful technology, giving a solo founder the same foundational firepower as a multi-billion-dollar corporation, often for free. It's the ultimate leveler. From my perspective, it's natural to get caught up in the hype cycle with these big announcements. Everyone is focused on the impressive demos, but that's looking at the surface. The non-obvious secret here is what I call capability arbitrage. OpenAI didn't just release a faster model. They effectively made multimodal AI, the ability for an AI to see, hear, and speak, a free commodity. This means you can now build and sell services that were technically impossible or astronomically expensive just weeks ago. So here's my advice. Ignore the impulse to build another generic chatbot. Think about combining the new capabilities. For example, Don't just transcribe calls. Build a service that listens to sales calls for a company, watches the agent's screen to ensure they are showing the correct slides, and provides real-time feedback. That is a high-value, defensible business you can start tomorrow. Your action item is to pick one clunky, expensive, multi-step business process you know of and ask, how could an AI that can see, hear, and reason solve this in one step? With that in mind, let's transition to the next challenge, navigating the just-in-time learning roadmap for mastering AI skills effectively. As we wrap up today's webinar, let's quickly revisit the key challenges we discussed and the actionable takeaways for each. First, we tackled the issue of navigating the AI paywall. The takeaway here is to creatively combine less expensive tools and leverage no-code platforms to build your solutions without breaking the bank. Next, we explored crafting your AI business roadmap. Remember, the path to success often begins with a conversation. Identify a niche, find a potential client, and offer to solve one of their problems for free or at a low price. We then discussed escaping the perfection trap. The key insight is to take action by validating a single assumption with zero code, focus on selling your idea before building it. Finding your first AI clients was another major hurdle. Utilize the Trojan horse method by solving a small, annoying problem for a potential client to build trust and demonstrate your value. We also addressed the experience myth. Your role as a founder is to be the architect and translator, not the primary coder. Focus on developing technical taste and strategic oversight instead of trying to learn everything. When it comes to the dilemma of code versus AI tools, start with breadth to find a real, paying problem, and only dive deeper into coding when absolutely necessary. As we discussed OpenAI's latest updates, remember to focus on how to apply new capabilities to solve existing business problems, rather than getting distracted by flashy features. Finally, the just-in-time learning roadmap emphasizes that your learning should be driven by the specific problems you are solving for clients, not a linear curriculum. Personally, I find it incredibly exciting to see how these insights can empower you to take action and build your own AI ventures. Thank you all for staying until the end. If you found this session valuable, I encourage you to subscribe for more insights and join our next webinar where we'll dive even deeper into the evolving landscape of AI. Feel free to ask any questions as we wind down. Let's keep the conversation going.